Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. For all of you who are just tuning in with me, hi, my name is Rose, and I do everything divination on this channel. We talk about the divination tools, how they came to be, a little synopsis, and then usually I will do a review of a deck so that you can see what they look like, how to use them, and also I usually do a video of just how to interview your decks or how it looks to do divination with these types of tools. In this video, we're going to be talking about oracle decks. The last few videos that I did really centered on tarot, so if you're looking to start with those, go check out my channel. If not, you can start with me on oracle decks. Oracle decks are similar, but also their own standing tool in divination. And what I mean by that is oracle cards usually don't have very much rule, very much structure in how they're made. Honestly, anyone can make an oracle deck and make it any way that they want, any type of messages. They can make it very specific type of cards. They can make it very general card readings. They can go anywhere from having like 20 cards in a pack to 50 cards. Whereas with tarot, it's a lot more structured. Every tarot deck has 78 cards in them. I do believe if they stick with the Raider weight baseline of the tarot cards, which is one of the first ever types of tarot that were made and used specifically for divination. And also you can't really make cards have different meanings in tarot. They usually have a base meaning that means the same thing in each and every deck. But again, if you are someone who reads intuitively, that is all on you and what you like. But with tarot and how it's made, and if you got the booklets, all of them usually have the same meaning for each and every card, or the same symbolism and same kind of structure. Whereas oracle decks, you can do what you want. They all are different. They either super specific, super not, and all of the messages are different, and all of the imagery is different. And it all really depends on the author and the creator of those decks. So they're a little bit more free-flowing and fun in that nature, and a little bit more, I want to say intuitive, but also they also are very specific. They kind of have a mix of tarot structure and also a different type of divination, which is Lenormand, and we will get on that subject some videos down. But right now, let's talk about oracles. So the oracle decks really started coming out around the 19th century. Looking through, they don't have as a specific history as tarot does, and that's just because during the 19th century, they started really going through and making decks specifically for divination. There was a big boom in, society and pop culture, really getting back into occultism or even occulty subjects like tarot, seances, speaking to the dead, psychic mediums, and also oracle decks in Lenormand. And it became more popular and well known. And then when people started using these tarot decks, they kind of branched out into oracle. Kind of like, certain religions like Christianity branching off of Judaism and so on and so forth. Same kind of concept with the oracle cards and tarot. Hence why they probably don't have as much of a structure as tarot does. And they're a little bit more free flowing. But as I say that, they also are very specific decks, whereas like tarot isn't as specific. And by meaning that they can have specific themes for tarot, but the cards always have the same kind of base meanings for them. Whereas oracle cards, if they have a different theme, their messages can look completely different and have nothing to do with the deck that also has a similar theme. I've got two decks with me today. I have the Life Purpose Oracle deck, which is made by Doreen Virtue, and I also have the Romance Angels Oracle deck, also made by Doreen Virtue. I am so sorry, Doreen, that I am messing up your name so bad. Words are hard, and apparently so are names. And from these names of the cards, you can really see that they are specific decks. One is made specifically for questions that have to deal with your life purpose, some people career, what you came to do in this life, what brings you joy, all that kind of great questions for divination or type of readings. Whereas this romance angel deck is really specifically for romantic relationship questions, marriage questions, your relationship with your partner, or what could be happening in that relationship with your partner. So very specific, like you wouldn't use this deck if you wanted to ask questions about your career or your life purpose. But you also wouldn't use a life purpose deck if you wanted to know about a relationship that you have with your partner, your girlfriend, boyfriend, regardless who they are, because it's just not what that deck was made for. It was made for specifically life purpose questions, and the same goes for the romance angels. That was made specifically for any type of divination reading that just specifically deals with romance. And we can look at those decks as well. So let's look at the romance first, just so that you can get a vibe of what oracle decks look like and the difference between them and tarot. So as you can see, the decks are next to tarot, quite large. I have like the Halloween tarot deck here just to show the difference. But as you can see, like just the size alone of this card, it kind of is like triple in size. Whereas like tarot decks are usually the same size of like a playing deck. Some are a little smaller, some are a little bit larger, but they really do have a similar form to them. Oracle decks are quite large. They're a little bit bigger. They kind of remind me of like flashcards. A lot larger, so for someone like me, they're about the size of my full hand. Very large. They usually got pictures, they've got a name for that card or a title for that card, and then they usually got a little blurb on it. Unlike tarot, where usually you just have the number, the name of the card, and then the full imagery. There usually isn't any writing on the decks. There are some that have come out recently that do have writing on them, that deal with the meaning behind the card, but usually they don't. With oracle decks, they always have the message or blurb on the card. Or they'll have the booklet with it and you have to go and look it up. But more often than not with oracle decks, you'll have the title and the little blurb to tell you what that deck has to deal with. And then you go into their little booklets, which will have a longer message for you and a little bit more information. Now, what you'll find with oracle decks that's a little different than tarot is they give you specific messages, but they're quite vague messages still. And they differ between the tarot, where the tarot deals more with emotional reasons behind things are happening, or how people are feeling, or why things happen the way they did, kind of cause and effect. Oracle deck kind of mixes cause and effects with the Lenormand based cards, which is kind of like a pictograph, and it tells you things that will occur. So it kind of gives you a best of both worlds quality with Oracle, whereas tarot is strictly one or the other, depending on how you read them. Obviously, if you're an intuitive reader, you might get specific things that happen, but a lot of the times it's more emotional based readings, like this is what you're feeling, this is why this is happening, this is the situation, these are key words, themes, and Oracle has nothing to do with that. It's more, here's your little blurb of what this means and what's going to happen because of that. And then we're going to look at a little bit something less romance based, which is something along the lines of this life purpose oracle. And I really do enjoy these decks personally. A lot of people like them too. And as you can see, again, this is more Doreen style. My next video that I will be putting up will do a different deck and review it, and you can see the contrast. But as you can see, again, you just got like decks of cards that have an image in the middle of them, the little blurb on the bottom with the title of what that card means. Very straightforward, very, easy to read. You can be intuitive with them, but you don't necessarily need to have a good connection to your intuition to use this decks. Oracle decks are usually actually really great to start off in your divination if you're a little intimidated by tarot. And what I mean by that is like tarot really gives a mixture of your intuition and the structure of tarot. You can read it with just the structure and get great readings, but a lot of people tend to use it to connect to their intuition and is a little bit more intuition based because it doesn't give you a blurb on the card. It doesn't give you those extra hints as to what that card traditionally means. You would have to go into your book. You would have to read the blurb. You would kind of have to memorize a little bit the meanings behind the cards. Whereas with Oracle, you don't have to do that at all because it literally has the blurb right on the cards for most of them. Again, some decks don't have that. But then again, they have their own style. If you're someone who isn't connected to their intuition just yet or doesn't have that connection just as strongly, Oracle decks are super great because, they give you that straight up reading, but they give you that message and that little intuitive nudge that's right on the cards. You don't even have to go into the book if you don't want to, or if you want to do a little bit more and get a little bit more access information, then you would go into the booklet and read the excess blurb that comes with it. And just to give you like a difference, so in this deck, we have the Strength card, just like we do in the Tarot deck. So I'm going to be popping that card out so that we can see. I know, it's so beautiful, this deck. So we can see the difference in what I mean by the structure and not structured readings of these different decks. So with this Life Purpose Oracle deck, we have a Strength card, just like we do in every tarot deck that you get. There is not one tarot deck that doesn't have a Strength card. And then we're just going to be using the Halloween tarot deck to kind of give you that contrast. Now here in this Life Purpose Oracle deck, the Strength card, as you can see, the imagery is quite different from the imagery of the tarot card. The tarot card imagery never changes. Doesn't matter what deck you go through. It really doesn't change very much. Usually it has to center around a lion. For strength. And the reason behind it is, that card has a lot of ties to not only, the astrological sign of Leo, but the whole mythology of, David and Goliath. So it has a bit to do with inner strength. It has to do with, someone being courageous and doing something that might be scary, someone who is very profound, very willful, or someone who needs to bring out those qualities. Whereas in this Oracle deck, this deck just really talks about how the strength is that all the experiences that you've had in your life have made you strong, have made you courageous, have brought this into your personality or into your life and has made you grow into your own strength, which is a little bit different from tarot, which is very more straightforward, has a little bit more structure to it, and is same and streamlined throughout. Whereas in this deck, they gave strength their own meaning, their own message behind it. And it was very specific, but also, again, very vague message. Obviously, again, if you go through the booklet, it's got a little bit more of a blurb to it that'll give you more information. But I just wanted to give you the contrast to show you just how much, Oracle decks are different in the fact that they have their own rules. And Tarot has the same streamlined rules for all of their decks going forward. Same name, same card, completely different uses for them, which is really great and fun for divination. However, depending if you were trying to do a tarot reading for your life purpose, you would probably get more cards to make a streamlined answer, and it would probably be a little bit more intuition based, a little bit more emotional based, whereas these oracle decks, because this one is life purpose based, is so specific, it would be a straightforward reading. It'd be so much easier for you to just go, okay, well, your life purpose has to deal with teaching. You inspire young people to learn. So straightforward. Whereas if you got like the strength card and you wanted to know how that deals with your life purpose, you would have to be like, well, your life purpose deals with the fact that you have to find your inner will and strength to do what you want to do. So it's a roundabout way of getting a very similar answer, unlike the oracle deck, which is very specific to that type of reading. A little crazy, I know. But it all really depends on your style of reading, what you're trying to do, the type of reading, and how connected or unconnected you feel to your intuition. The more connected you feel to your intuition, the more you might be inclined to challenge yourself and use tarot or Lenormand. Or if you find you're a little bit intimidated by them, you might gravitate toward oracle decks a little bit more. Me personally, I've been reading all of these for, God, it's going almost on 10 years now. And I use them all interchangeably. Sometimes I'll use all three types of decks for the same type of reading to get different perspectives on that question that I'm asking about, because really these decks just give you different perspectives on the same focus or same question or same answer you're looking to get. And oracle cards just give you that different perspective that tarot may not give you. So a lot of times you'll find readers also tend to mix and match and do readings with tarot along with oracle. I really hope that this video gives you guys a little bit more base on oracle decks. I know it doesn't have the same type of structured history as tarot did, but again, it honestly just, it came from tarot and evolutionized through occult and divination coming into pop culture around the 1900s. The next video that I will be doing will be a review of one of my favorite oracle decks, which I will keep as a surprise for you guys to come back to find. Don't worry, it's not going to be another Doreen Virtue deck. I'm going to show you a deck that's completely different style, just to show you how fun and whimsical they can be, and show you the real variety and just inhibited make of them, unlike tarot, which has like a base, kind of like school. You'll have a different teacher, they're teaching the same subject a little bit differently. So if you like this video, please click the subscribe button on the bottom, and don't forget to make sure that that bell is going so that you get notifications and you don't miss out on any of my new content, which I do come out 3 times a week, which is Thursday, Fridays, and Saturdays. You can also, if you have any questions or any concerns, or if this video you just want some clarifications, don't forget to put a comment below and I'll try to get back to you as fast as I can, either through a response or through, a video series with more information. We're all learning together. So if I find more information on oracle decks and where they came to be, or even more specific on their origin, I would love to also hear about it. You can also catch me on all of my other social platforms, which is Twitter, Instagram, and also TikTok. All of those links are on my channel by my bio. And if you want to ask questions through there, just because you might not want to leave a message down there, don't be afraid to just DM me. And again, I will get to you as quickly as I can to help answer and inform you on your questions. Or if you have any feedback, don't be afraid to leave that either. I love to hear feedback and I try my best to take it constructively and work on it. Hope to see you guys real soon for our next video on our new oracle deck that I will be reviewing for you, which will stay a surprise. Have a great day, guys. Bye.